Yes. Um, Pastor Tom, this is the last part of our discussion. Um, but we still have some other, you know, maybe in the future to talk about other things. But for today, this is the last section. So
Mhm.
the last question, or the last thing I want you to do is, mm, I'm having this picture and I want you to see it too. Um, the picture I'm seeing about you is like you've been climbing from you've been climbing like you are climbing up on a high mountain, and a mountain of your life. First year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, and now you have gone to 69.
Mhm.
So as we were discussing today, I was always seeing you on the top of a mountain of life.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is that's how that's how you have gone up.
Mhm.
So I want you to picture yourself standing on that mountain of life, looking down, and give us your conclusion on life, looking from up down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then,
In final sight. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
I would like you to do that.
Mhm. All right. Well, let's see how far I can make this conclusion. I mean, just thinking about that idea of just looking back over the journey, looking back. Um, Obviously, as you look back, you see the good times and the bad times as you look back. Um, I once wrote uh, I wrote this little book thing, and a comment that I made in this book was, you know, it's good to be on the top of the mountain. It's a good place. There's something special about being on a mountain. And if you read through the Bible, God took people to mountains, and there were incredible encounters with God. And mountains speak of a spiritual high place that seems to be closer to heaven, and a place of blessing and a place of revelation and a place of closeness with God, you know. But I also wrote that um, it's in the valleys is where you find the gold. You don't find the gold on the mountaintop.
No,
You find the gold in the valley streams,
yeah.
in the valleys. So, while the mountain is incredible, it's the best place to be. I mean, I love the mountains. When I go on my bike rides, I go up through the mountains and I look over the valleys and the hills in the distance. I love the mountains. I even climb some of the smaller mountains. I love mountains. That's a place of incredible blessing
Hmm.
and a closeness with God, which we all need. But in those valley times of our lives, that's when you find the gold,
Wow.
the treasure, the gold. It's
Mm.
not gold, but it's a treasure and it's gold and it's valuable. So I always like to think of that idea as well. I think it's important for people to understand that you can't be on top of a mountain the whole time. It's impossible. I mean, just think in the natural logical sense, how do you get to the mountaintop? You have to climb it.
Hmm.
You don't get just dropped up there by helicopter. You have to climb the mountain.
Yeah.
You have to go through the valleys and the journey and the steps. And I don't know if you've ever climbed a mountain, but it's hard work and it's dangerous and it's difficult. Uh, but the top is so rewarding. But and probably sidetracked completely from what you're saying. But you know, when I look back at my life, um, I have no regrets.
Mm.
No regrets. I, I I think if I was to die tomorrow, I would think my last words was, "Well, God, have done the best that I could do."
Mm-hmm.
with everything that I have. I've tried my hardest. I have no regrets. You know, I've tried this thing, it didn't work. I tried that thing, it didn't work. I've tried this thing, it did work. This thing did work. I have no regrets. I've got no, what if I'd have tried this? You know, I wish I would have done that. I don't have those kind of regrets. There's a there's a few things I might have changed looking back. Some things I wish I could have changed, like for instance, growing up, I wish I could have learnt more at school. You know, um, I wish I loved my parents more than I did. You know, these kinds of things, but you can't change those things. That's part of your life's journey. So there's no point like getting regretful and sorrowful about it. But at the same time, if somebody said, "Can do you want to change some things?" I would probably say, "Yes, I would like to change some things." But in changing those things, that might change you, who you are now. Could I be me if some of those things had changed in the past? Would I be me now? You see, those things that I've lived through have made me the person I am.
Wow.
And I believe it's been for a good, it's been good. It's not been bad, it's been good. I believe what I've turned out to be is as good as I can be. And so I don't really have a lot of regrets. I don't really want things to be changed because I know in that journey, those things that I went through, the difficulties, the struggles in life, the traumatic experiences, they actually formed me into the person I am today. They actually put the trust in God and the faith in God and the strength, courage, stubbornness, and all those things,
Mm-hmm.
they were put into my life through those difficult times.
Mm-hmm.
So do I want them not to be there? No, because of the end result's been so good. And I look back at my life with a sense of fulfillment. I mean, I could have been just a rubbish case. I could have been. Who knows what would have happened to me in England? I could have been a miserable person just in jail all my life. You know, who knows what could have happened?
Mm.
I would have never met my wonderful wife, you know, and all those things wouldn't have happened. So all those things are incredible. And the journey has been amazing, difficult at times, but God has been so good. God has been so good, and
Uh,
for
uh,
Him to look after me,
okay. So
for
I
Him
will.
to be,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, okay,
So I would like for you to uh give some advices to our audience, to those people that still climbing the ladder of life. What advice will
yeah,
you give them?
okay. Well, if you're a young person,
Uh-huh.
I would I would encourage people to do well at school.
Mm-hmm.
For young people, do well at school.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage people who are thinking about a career for their life.
Mm-hmm.
I would say to them, get the best job that you can get. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you need to go to university and become a doctor, do it. You know, like do the best you can, because I lived my whole life as a storeman on very basic wages. You know, now I don't regret it because that's just me. But my advice to young people is think about school, think about university, think about getting a career that's a professional career,
Mm-hmm.
because if you do that, you're setting yourself up for a much better life, a much easier life, especially financially. And you know, if you're better off financially, you can be more generous, you can be more giving, you know, you have a lot more opportunity in life. So that my encouragement for that is, for those people, young people, is to do it. You know, I never thought about what I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, I had no clue. Life just happened and evolved, and I just picked up through the pieces as I was going. I had no plans to be anybody. no clue at all. And I had no advice from anybody. My parents never helped me with anything growing up. So, but I firmly believe if you're a young person, get a good education, think of a career that you can do that you love doing and that's going to be good for your life. And I think, the next part is, when you're looking at marrying a person, man, you need to seek God and find that right person for you. I mean, God told Kerry she was going to marry me. I'm glad God told Kerry. I mean, I didn't have a clue, but at least Kerry knew what she was doing. So, we need to know God's plan and mind for us. Who is the partner we should have? Because, well, that makes a huge difference. If you get the wrong partner, if you marry the wrong person, what a tragedy. And it can change so much in your life if you marry the wrong person. So if you're thinking of marrying, seek God and find that person that God wants you to marry. Find that out. For those that are older, there's going to be difficulties raising children and having children and them growing up. It's challenging. It's difficult. You don't have all the answers, and there's lots of issues that you have to face. You just need to love each other, love your kids, love your wife, and have that love in your family, because that's the strongest thing you can possibly have, is that love. And for living our life out, we just got to keep moving forward. It sounds very simple, but the only way to climb to the top of the mountain is to keep walking.
Wow.
Is to keep stepping up.
Wow.
You see, stepping up. How many people in life give up and stop? If you give up on your life and stop, you're never going to get to the top of the mountain. Some people are even worse. They start to walk back down the mountain. Like,
Wow.
this mountain's so difficult. I can't do it. But when I was in the valley, it was so much easier. Life was better back 10 years ago. Yesterday was better than today. And people start walking backwards, which is such a terrible shame, because you can't climb a mountain walking backwards. You can't climb a mountain if you stop and sit. The only way you can climb a mountain is to take another step and another step and another step.
That's
And
powerful.
I've climbed mountains, and I know it's difficult. I've lived life. I know it's difficult. I've climbed my mountains through life. And when you've done one mountain, enjoy the victory. When you get to the top of your mountain, enjoy the victory, because you don't stay there. There's going to be a bigger mountain. You don't just do one mountain in life. You're forever climbing mountains.
That's powerful.
Forever.
I
Yeah.
like that. I like that. I like that advice, that you just have to keep taking steps.
You just got to do it.
I
Yeah.
like that.
And trusting in God, holding on to God, letting God help you every way. And if you're not, if you don't know which way you're going, just keep walking towards. Keep walking towards.
I like that. Wow. Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Tom. I really enjoyed the conversation, and your advice to the people that are going to listen is also good. Very good advice. And thank you. We find another topic to talk about in the future. And what I wanted to get out of you from your heart, it was just, I think you summarized, as you were talking, you gave this very idea what I really wanted to get from you, and that is, you said that uh, life is about God, not about me.
Mm,
So I realized that this is what you have come to understand
mm,
through going in your personal life. That
that's
life
correct.
is,
Yeah.
that life is actually about God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you said this when you were talking, and I realized that this is what you discover along the way,
Mm,
that life is actually about God.
mm,
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah. But there are other good points that you gave, uh, like difficult time can bring blessing.
Mm,
Difficult time can, push you to God, and if it pushes you to God, you can God can redirect your life and things like that. So
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And another thing that you also said that was very good is the valley. Before you get to the mountain, uh, there are also treasures in the
Mm,
valley. And
mm.
you also talk about that. And that is also connecting to the difficult time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
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 And also about continuing to take steps uh, to climb the mountain.
Yep.
Yeah. So these are very good points. And I wrote them down for myself. Yeah. So thank you very much, and I hope that what we just do now,
Mm.
uh, it will reach to many people. I really hope
Yeah,
for
I
that.
hope so too. I hope so because
Yeah,
yeah, I believe I've shared my heart. I mean, I haven't gone into exact detail of things because it's not necessary and
yeah,
it's too long, too difficult.
yeah,
But I've shared my heart and my some of the feelings of
yeah,
my journey, and yes, it hasn't been easy. It really has been very difficult. Sometimes it's still very challenging as well as we move forward. But God is good.
yeah,
And God is with us and He's helping us. And that's the most important thing. Mhm.
yeah. And that you you said about God being the central point in life.
Yeah.
You said that, but um, you also it is also seen, practically seen in your life because your life started really changing when you switch on the side of God,
For
and things
sure.
really started happening in your
Mm.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so that you said that life is about God, it's true. Yeah. Because, like, for example, if we take your life, you started with me, 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 your good time, living the way you wanted to live. Okay. But then when you switch to God and you see the vast difference.
Yeah. The big
Mm,
change. Yeah.
yeah. And you settle down. God gave you a godly wife, two
Mm.
children, and your life
Yeah.
started to build up,
Yeah.
positively.
Wonderful children. Because, my childhood wasn't so wonderful and I didn't feel my parents were so great. But
Hmm.
one thing I said when we had children is, I want to have a good relationship with my children, and you know, all through their teenage years, they were so good. We never had big problems. They still love us so much now as adults, and I'm so thankful for that to have happened. Mhm.
Yeah. Good. So let me stop the recording.